Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to this Roma Press live stream right after Roma beat Fiorentina to continue their unbeaten streak to 19 games. 19 games, guys. I know it's been a lot. It's been sometimes painful. It's been very stressful. It's been definitely excruciating to watch at times when Miles VR is once again called into action to make yet another miraculous save. But here we are. Here we are. It's the beginning of May, and we are still in it, guys. When was the last time that we could sit here and say Roma still have a chance to qualify for the Champions League? They are in the race for top four with Bologna and Juventus set to kick off right this very minute. So I just wanted to welcome everybody before we get into this live stream. Wanted to welcome all the new people that are following us. If you're new to this channel, this is where you get all the live streams from Roma Press. We will return with the podcast sometime in June when John recovers. But in the meantime, I try to do these live streams so that we can come together and well gather our thoughts, try to make sense of what Roma are doing, which is absolutely brilliant, considering that not a single person on here, including me, could predict that Roma would be sitting at fourth place in May, uh, ahead of the likes of Lazio, ahead of the likes of Juve, Bologna, Fiorentina, Milan. So just wanted to welcome everybody, say hello. If you would like to support Roma Press, because as you know, the ship is very tight. I'm trying to run the whole thing by myself right now with John out of action until the end of the season. If you'd like to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Roma Press. There is all kinds of discounts right now, and there is a lot of cool extra content that I try to make available on a weekly basis. So go check that out. And in the meantime, give a thumbs up to this live stream. So let me just get to the comments, which I predict will be full of excited people. And if you have any questions, obviously, you know the name of the game, just write it down in the chat. I'll be reading it out. Alexander Torgensen, obviously, I wanted to also thank our latest patron for Torgensen. Alexander, thank you so much for joining the patron. That means a lot. And Alex is in actual tears right now. Alex, it's great to hear. Welcome to the family. I will say this: if we win versus Atalanta next week, we will finish top four. Our season rides on a result next week. I cannot believe with 3 games left, we're playing for top four. All the podcasts doubting this conversations as we enter 2025, it has become reality. Absolutely. Absolutely. We had people probably betting money on us being relegated rather than qualifying for Champions League. That was our reality. That was the world we had created by being so horrible in the first half of the season. And then just as we were unbelievably horrible at the start, we are unbelievably good, at least in getting the results that we need in this second half of the season. It's not even about guys. Over the last few weeks when we've been doing these live streams, we had a number of people come in here and complain about, oh, it's 1-0. Oh my God, the team is playing this way or that way. Guys, we are sitting here and we're in the top four race. We're still alive. We have a chance. It's a concrete chance. It's not a made up chance like the ones in recent years. It's not like last year where we were going to Empoli hoping for the best, hoping that someone would drop points. No, actually, we are making a difference right now. Germanicus, I never would have believed at the beginning of the season we would be doing this good. It's quite astounding to think that the same team that collected that horrible streak of results with Ivan Juric has now gone on to 19 undefeated games in Serie A. Roma have the most games won by 1-0 in all of Europe this season, which is, again, a testament to Claudio Ranieri's work, because it's not even about what's happening on the pitch. It's what's happening inside the players' heads. That's what's important right now, is that the players are all convinced of what they're doing, that the players are convinced of what the manager wants them to do, that the players are convinced actually that they can make a difference. I think it was perfectly reflected in Manu Kone's interview uh, that was released, I believe, yesterday, where he said the win against Inter was proof that we can win against anybody away from home. And that is a very important realization for a team that was so deprived of confidence going into 2025. So it's unbelievable to hear these words coming from the same players that up until a few months ago, if you had gone up to them and asked them about Champions League, they would have said, we will have to see. We first have to focus on getting out of relegation zone. We have to focus on getting top 10, whatever it was. Um, it's an unbelievable leap that the team has made with Ranieri. And yet again, I find myself forced to say this. Regardless of what happens, regardless of what we end up doing by the end of the season, words will never describe how grateful we should all be to Ranieri for coming in to rescue us, first of all, and second of all, for actually coming in and giving us hope, which is something that we were completely lacking from right around when Daniele De Rossi was sacked until Ranieri started stacking up those results. Hope, and hope is crucial for a fan base. And Ranieri understood that immediately, that without hope, the supporters, their support, their love will not be as powerful as it could be with hope. And right now, this team is riding on a high. The Stadio Olimpico was rocking. There was a beautiful tribute to Eduardo Bove, who came back to the Olimpico. He was in tears by the end of the game. It was really beautiful to see both teams standing there watching the scene unravel as Bove went up to the Curva, who made a tribute to him. It was really a really moving display. Also, Nicola Zaniolo getting a red card, that's also a moving display. That's a beauty. That's a beauty, because you know what? I thought that today we were gonna get another Purghino by Zaniolo, who already scored one with Atalanta in December. Another brave performance by the lads today. This is the Roma I love. Forza Roma, Shebek. Duncan, great win. Always felt the game had 1-0 written on it. Plus, nice tribute by the Curva Sud for Bove. Yes. Vincent, we can't stop and we won't stop. Absolutely. Let's hope this keeps on going. We need a Bologna Juventus draw. The great answer by Ranieri in his post-match interview: I won't be watching it. I'm not facing Bologna. I'm not facing Juventus. Why should I watch it? It's not necessary for me to watch it. I think we can all learn something from Ranieri, who, at 73, he's living these experiences. He's right in the midst of this very competitive race for top four, and yet he's able to remain completely cool. I envy him. We should learn from the man. Never would have imagined. Andy, holy crap, am I dreaming? Forza Roma. Richard, you're not dreaming, but thank you so much for being here. Also, ciao, Andy. Love to see you every time. Love for John as well. Thank you so much, Jeroen. That means a lot. Really means a lot. We've received a lot of support in these weeks, and it always surprises me in a very positive way. So thank you so much for that. Vincent, I think a lot of people also forget that last year, if we beat Atalanta away at the end of the season, we could have been in the Champions League. We need revenge. Last year, it was plenty of could have, should have, and this and that. And then we went to that match at Empoli, and it was such a, the atmosphere there, the way we lost that game, it made you understand that the team wasn't in it. They weren't in it. After the way they lost to Bayer Leverkusen, they completely sagged their shoulders in the league, and they did not believe it. Right now, I'm watching a team stack up these narrow wins, mind you, very narrow wins. Also, wasting chances, relying on Miles VR to make unbelievable saves, and yet they make it work, and yet they come away with a 1-0 win because they believe in it. They believe in it. And Eldor Shomurodov starts once again because there is a reason, because he helps Artem Dovbyk not be so isolated. He helps connect Dovbyk to the rest of the team. I love what I'm seeing from Shomurodov. I love that Ranieri stuck to his guns and included him in the lineup yet again today. It was a great thing to see Shomurodov with that header for that assist to Dovbyk, a wonderful cross, a pinpoint accurate, I mean, absolutely amazing cross by Angelino to give Roma the lead. And that's why someone like Shomurodov ends up from the bench, from being basically sold in January to then playing an important role in Roma's race for top four. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Andy, a lot of people are pondering what if Ranieri was the coach from the start, but I think that the team is only this good due to the previous lows. Mind you, Ranieri also said it himself. It was very. I think it's very telling when a manager says this. There is a lot of truth in it. He said, "Perhaps I did well, and I'm doing so well because I found a team that was in a real hole." And so I think what he's trying to say is that Ranieri was very familiar with that context because, mind you, how many times has Ranieri been called up, regardless of the league, regardless of the team, in a situation where the team was doing badly? He was called into action to help the team come back to life numerous times in his long career. That's been the case for Claudio Ranieri. And I think that having him there from the beginning, I don't think that it would have had the same effect. Perhaps yes, perhaps we could argue that right after Daniele De Rossi, Ranieri could have done well, and yet I still think that Ranieri does well because he comes back to an environment that knows him, that loves him, but an environment that was shaken, that was stirred, that was rattled by Ivan Juric. Ivan Juric was immediately seen as an outsider, as someone who does not really embody, does not really qualify as someone worthy of carrying Roma's name, right? That was sort of the sentiment around the team at that time. Once Ivan Juric leaves, Ranieri is the best possible solution at that moment in time. And the fans know it, the fans feel it. And it works like that in Rome. You know, it's very much about feeling rather than about the name, rather than about the performances, the statistics, whatever. It's about the feeling. You know, it's like when Sinisa Mihailovic was very close to Roma, the fans protested to such a degree because they could not imagine, they could not envision someone like Mihailovic taking over Roma's bench. And the club realized that. The club listened to that and appointed, I do believe, Paulo Fonseca instead, just based off of that, based off of the knowledge of what the feeling among the fans was. And right now we're seeing the same treatment for Stefano Pioli with the hashtag no Pioli. I hope the other result favors us. Ranieri deserves it. Yes, Diego, we can all hope that. Andy, give us your thoughts. Andy, give us your prediction. What is your prediction on how we end the year? Give us your thoughts on this finish. Do we get top four with the remaining schedule left? No, you're not gonna get a prediction out of me. No, sir. We haven't given a prediction all year around, perhaps except with maybe the Derby or something, you know. But no, I don't play with predictions. Not with the way the team is doing right now. And also because there is really so many variables. There are so many variables involved. You look at this Serie A table, guys. You look at a table that has teams like Fiorentina, Bologna, Juventus, Lazio, and Roma, all within 4 points of each other. And then there is Atalanta right up there on third place with 68 points. Below them, Roma 63, Lazio 63, Juventus 62, Bologna 61, and Fiorentina 59. So we're talking about such a competitive top four race that this season, I think, you know, one could argue about how exciting this Serie A campaign has been, given that Napoli are heavy Scudetto favorites right now, with Inter sort of taking a bit of a step back in mentality, not in terms of results, because they got to win against Hellas Verona. But this top four race, man, it's if I was someone from the outside watching in, I would have had the time of my life watching this. Unfortunately, I'm a Roma fan, so you're never having a time of your life as a Roma fan. Ranieri is really an angel, says Luke. Absolutely, that guy has some sort of divine power. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And again, regardless of Ranieri can't lose this in the sense that whatever happens, regardless of where we end up at the end of the season, he's got the absolute devotion and love from this fan base. There's going to be statues and I mean he's going to be a legendary he's already a legendary figure, but he's going to be an absolute, exactly as you say, divine status in the capital. Ciao, Andy. Thanks for all the hard work. Just got home from the accountant too. Not a bad film. Thank you, Drew. Thank you so much for tuning in after the movie with Ben Affleck and John Bernthal playing brothers. Thank you so much, Andy. Any idea on the signatures on the W? I don't know what are we talking about. You have to clue me in right now. I'm not sleeping nights, so I don't know what the hell's happening. Oh, Game 7 for your Warriors tonight. Yeah. It's not going well. It's there's not a good feeling going into this Game 7 of the series with Houston. Not a good feeling, unfortunately. Richard, Andy, have they decided where in Roma they will erecting Claudio's marble monument? Absolutely deserved. Was it just me, or did Cristante play the first 30 minutes at the best level for many years? He was everywhere and didn't lose a single duel. I mean, guys, Cristante was also good against the Inter. I just think that he was so horrendous in possession in the first half that people sort of took for granted this absolute second half defensive masterclass by Cristante, where he was there everywhere and he was tackling. I mean, he was tackling Inzaghi's nonna. Okay, he was so good. He was so powerful. He was really sort of trying to redeem himself after that horror show. I still think that this is. I mean, I'm not even gonna add to the Cristante debate because it's just so impossible. But I still think that there are times that people don't seem to realize that he's doing good work. um. Oh, okay. Any idea on the signatures on the training tees today? Was there an event or significance for Saromayan? I'll get back to you. Please bear with me. Juve just scored. Come on, Bologna. We need a draw. Let's see. Juve have been so up and down with Tudor, so up and down also just in terms of uh, the personnel. Ildi's, getting suspended for 2 games right as Juve are about to play Bologna and Lazio, because we have to remember Juve are also going to play Lazio. It's again, I'm just saying, we go from a weekend where Juve play Bologna and Roma play Fiorentina to a weekend where Roma play Atalanta and Juve play Lazio. I mean, it's talk about a fiery weekend. Let's bring back Daniele Rossi with Ranieri by his side for 2 years. you know, sure. I mean, I'm not even gonna. I mean, I'm not even gonna debate that choice, that decision. I think that would be very romantic and lovely. Will it happen? Who knows? Right now, who knows? Because the the talk around this team and the talk in the media about this search for a new coach has been so all over the place. We're still getting new names every day. We're still getting the media saying that Farioli is the favorite to Farioli is no longer interested. We're saying Fabregas is the favorite, to Fabregas will stay at Como, to Fabregas will actually consider Roma, on and on. Whereas I really do believe that when Ghisolfi goes out to the media and says the club will announce the decision when it's time, when it's the right time, I do believe that he's saying that with the awareness that Roma have made their decision. The decision has been taken. Whether they can say it or not probably depends also on if this guy is working for another club. Because keep in mind, if we're talking about anyone who's in charge of another team, then you can't really go out to the media and say, well, yeah, it's Vincenzo Italiano. And I'm not throwing this name out there just like that. I'm throwing it out there because Bologna sporting director Di Vaio was very vague now that he came on 2000 and said, he should stay with us. But he didn't sound too convincing. So let's keep an eye out on Vincenzo Italiano, okay, guys? Just putting it out there. Oh my God, what have I done? Let's see. I feel like we have enough attacking power to play differently, Marco. Not just defend and play long balls. If I'm correct, we sacked Jose for this. Marco, Marco. Are you going? Are you seriously going to complain again today? Okay, I understand. This is a battle that you want to carry out until the end of the season. And no, Marco, I don't think that this is the way Roma planned to play. When they sacked Jose Mourinho, definitely not, because we saw the way they wanted to play with Daniele De Rossi at the helm. But guess what? Roma have been in an emergency situation for the past several months. Okay. The problem is that they lost so many points at the beginning of the season that in order to get them back in the second half of the season, they've had to claw their way out of a really, really deep hole by any means necessary. And that includes also getting these scrappy wins, which sure, the Ranieri is known for. But I don't think that Roma appointed Ranieri with the vision that this guy will revolutionize the way the team is playing. I think Roma just appointed Ranieri to keep them alive. And guess what? That's what he's doing. As a Dutch guy who follows every Farioli's interviews, you talk like Farioli talks about the Dutch title, not wanting to say anything. Yes, like you're talking about top four. Absolutely, Jerome. Why would you do it? I completely understand when players, coaches remain vague, because anything you say is then held against you. Remember Alisson, who said we are fighting for the Scudetto, and then Roma dropped out of Coppa Italia, Europa League, and the Scudetto race in 2017. It was beautiful. It all happened within like 2 weeks. And that was, I think, the last time that I actually thought about a player's opinion, or a player just going out there and giving his prediction for what's going to happen. Uh, yes, I know everybody wants my prediction. It's not going to happen, guys. I'm going to defend my position here. Exactly. Whatever happens, Claudio Ranieri has already done something legendary. Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's it that you don't need to, you don't need to even, and like, that's the point I'm trying to make in my conversation with Marco, is that you don't even need to go into the details with Ranieri, because just him being there, just us being here where we are right now, does not need to be dissected. This team at this point in the season, uh, having done what they've done so far, with going on for 19 undefeated games, this should not be discussed like any other team. It should not, really, because this team has been in an emergency situation. This team has been in a scenario where, with their backs to the wall, they've been playing with their backs to the wall for what, 4 or 5 months now. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a team turning it on in emergency time. Hi, greetings from London. Thank you so much, Vladimiro. What do you think Roma needs to do to prevent a similar collapse next season? Well, first of all, they need to talk to each other. Like, people in the club need to talk to each other. I can't have these interviews and news about Roma and things happening behind the scenes, and people not liking each other, and someone sacking someone, and then someone else resigning. I can't have that. I can't have that behind the scenes drama. If Ghisolfi is honest in what he's saying, then Roma know that they have to address this, that they know they have to create a transparent organization where there is a clear structure, where people who are in charge of certain things are in charge of those certain things. And that's all. Like, there has to be order from the top to bottom. And it just, there has to be also belief in a project. There has to be belief, because what credibility can a project have if you're going to sack a manager 4 match days into the new season? It cannot happen. So you have to find someone that you're going to be willing to stick to and protect. That's what I think Roma are now trying to do, and I think that's the key to not having a similar collapse. Giving continuity, giving belief, putting belief in a project. It does wonders. It can do wonders. Bring back Daniele De Rossi and have Ranieri teach him. Yes, you're not the first person to say that today, so that's good. You have a lot of people And I also do find that romantic. So great run for Roma. However, they finished this year. However, they finished this year will be remarkable. But to dream of top four, yes, Troy, and still just a dream, guys. That's why I'm not being specific. How are we looking for the upcoming match against Atalanta? Are you feeling an important win or another draw in a big game? Oh man, that's tough, because then you're putting two scenarios in my mind, and I do know what you mean when you say another draw in a big game, because I'm already familiar with that feeling of coming away from it underwhelmed, sort of just sort of disappointed, trying to swallow a bitter result, because I'm thinking what could have been. I don't want to think about that. Let me just savor this victory, okay? Just a little longer, because I do think that we'll have to also see just Atalanta, what they're up to, like mentally. Also, are they checked out? Do they think that this is it, that they've done all they needed to do? uh, are they feeling comfortable? I don't know what can is Gasperini motivated going into these next 3 weeks? Is he just going to say to his guys, you know, just phone it in? um I mean, it's going to be unbelievably tough. And but you know what, an away game in Bergamo, it always reminds me of that unexpected win we got with Mourinho at the helm, where we beat the wheels off of Atalanta, and it felt so good, only to then go up against Sampdoria and draw like 0-0 right before Christmas. It was pathetic, but that away win against Atalanta felt so good because of how long it had been since we'd gotten the win there. It would be amazing. It would be amazing, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm sorry. I know it's probably boring, but it's the only way to talk about this team, because what they've been doing for the past few months is completely annihilate any kind of prediction, any kind of expectation. Nobody, and I mean nobody, could have seen this coming. There is a lot of things that still don't work for this team. I'm very angry with the way this team wastes counterattacks left and right. It happens every game. We should be nailing them. We should be putting up different numbers. So the 1-0 is not planned. The 1-0 right now is a result that we are familiar with, that we seem to be comfortable with going into a second half where we're leading 1-0. But it's definitely not a result that reflects the effort that the team puts in to a game. Because with the way that this team has been wasteful, we should have had even 2-3 goals against Inter. We did not. Today, I'm also talking about Miles VR being Serie A best goalkeeper this season. No questions asked. No questions asked. Um, thank God that Ghisolfi and Sviar are very open about this contract renewal situation. It does seem like there is being progress made. Sviar's agent is reportedly in Rome right now, and there is a meeting that is expected to be scheduled in the coming days so that Roma and the player can discuss continuing together. It seems like an agreement can be found shortly. So I do think that that's what's going to happen at the end of the season. Roma will announce their new coach, and I want to believe that they will also announce Sviar staying on, because that, I mean, this guy is unbelievable. This guy is a master. This guy is perfection. I do think that someone like Thiago Pinto, who got him for free, should also receive a monument the way Ranieri is going to get a monument after his spell. Really need to be the douchebag Gasperini next week. It would feel amazing. It would feel amazing. I'm ready to witness Atalanta lose their last 3 games and we jump them in the standings. Mr. Basement. Mr. Basement, congratulations. That's a beautiful vision. I envy your optimism. I envy your confidence. Uh, I was greatly amazed by the improvement of Gurnaduath. He recovered so many balls. He's slowly becoming an interesting figure to bet for the future. What do you think, Andy? Diego, I was I was never really negative on him. I actually was always pleasantly surprised. I was sometimes a bit disappointed that he was getting so few minutes, but I did understand the fact that, Ranieri had to limit his rotations because Roma had to lock in. You couldn't take chances. And I still maintain Roma did good business in January, so sue me. I don't think that getting Devin Rensch was a waste of money. I don't think that Gurna Duarte is a bad bet. Roma have an option on him. I don't think that Salahadin is a bad signing. There's still so much that we have to see in him. So, and I do think that Gurna Duat is a guy who needs to grow into his role at the team. I'm not sure. There's not been a lot of reports on whether Roma intend to make his signing permanent, but I like what I'm seeing in the small bursts that I saw from him. He's come away as a good player. Obviously, in terms of possession, you can't really count on someone that inexperienced when it comes to Serie A to really show off. So as long as he can be that dog, as long as he can, recover balls, tackles, blah blah, show that aggressiveness, that's all I need from a player his age. Predict where VR will play next season. At Roma. At Roma, absolutely at Roma. It's he's not moving. Come on, guys. Come on. You know, he's a difference maker at Roma, and he's also grown into that. I mean, listen, I could be sitting here. We said the same things about Alisson, that he was a difference maker at Roma, and yet he was meant for greater things at Liverpool, and understandably so. With this VR, I do think that we're talking about a different player and a different person, and also someone who, in all his interviews, has been quite consistent in reiterating that Roma, and also the place, the fact that he's got a new family, this is the place that he wants to be for now. So even from a lifestyle perspective, it becomes apparent that this is what the guy wants. Now, that doesn't mean that if, say, Manchester City or Bayern Munich come in the summer and give him a 10 million euro contract, that this guy will not think about it. Of course, but I do think that here at Roma, I mean, the way he's treated, the way he's seen, and also just the role that he's playing so far for the team is I don't think he can get it in many other places right now, right at this moment in his career when he's 25. Away against Atalanta always reminds me of the big mistake from Patricio. Yeah, let's not talk about that, please. Let's stay on the positive moments, please. This VR staying would be a dream. Best goalkeeper we could wish for at the moment. Do you think he will start for Belgium soon? There is a dispute with Belgium. I don't know exactly what's happening. I don't understand why the hell he's not being called up, because he would solve them a lot of problems. But there is, I do think, I do remember there being a dispute, and that him saying that the situation is still not clear to him. If Mila stays, it almost feels like signing prime Messi right now. Yeah, I mean, obviously, with if Mila's VR decides to stay, and that is also announced, that adds to the credibility of a project. If Roma are able to keep VR, to keep Evan Dika, to keep Kone, Matias Sule, you're building a core. You have to give credibility to that. There is so much talk about young players. There is so much talk about youth, about cutting the wage budget, and focusing on younger players. That if you're not able to keep those guys, if you're not able to make an example out of them, in the good sense of the word, then anything that you do, the next move that you make, will be so scrutinized and criticized. Instead, if you make it loud and clear, hey, we've extended VR and we're not going to be listening to any offers, immediately you get 1,000 bonus points from the fans, from the media, from everybody that will look at this club and be like, oh, okay, they're serious. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Congrats on the win. Thank you, my beloved Med. That's a that's a good name. Jerome, 2022 was the last time we beat Atalanta at the home game with 2 red cards. That's true. Jesus. Okay, that's a long time. at least 100 million before even thinking for SVR to move. Yes. Hit the like button. Yes. Thank you so much, Germanicus. Hit the like button, guys. Not sticking with Sule Baldanzi's VR would be like Juventus selling half, 90% of their youngsters just to buy Cup Miners and Douglas Luiz. Absolutely. Yeah, that's very well put, Morin. And let's remember, Juventus also sold the likes of Huizen to, well, to also respect financial fair play, which is obviously something that Roma will need to do, but you need to get your priorities straight. You cannot let these talents go. Baldanzi, I still wouldn't know, but Baldanzi, I still think that we can't talk about him in that vein. I think Sule, Sviar, Ndika, Kone, that's a different that's a different caliber, but absolutely true in the sense that you cannot hope for understanding, you cannot hope for admiration from fans or even players who might be interested in joining the club if you're just giving out these guys. And as we saw, exactly, Juve spent a lot of money on two players that draw a lot of woos and wows, but in the end, where are they in the project? How do they fit in? How much money was wasted there? Where is Thiago Motta right now? All these questions that unfortunately point to mismanagement by Giuntoli and by a Juve team that wasn't exactly sure what they were doing. In a lot of ways, giving out VR right now after the season that he's had would be like firing Daniele De Rossi 4 games into the new season after the way he led Roma as an interim coach. It undercuts all the credibility that you've built, all the credibility that Roma had built over the years with Mourinho, with the European trophies, blah blah blah. It all went away the moment you sacked Daniele De Rossi. Now with Ranieri at the helm, with him slotting into that executive role, you're adding credibility. If you stick to Ghisolfi, you're adding credibility. If you keep Sviar, you're adding credibility. And that's how it works in football, especially with financial fair play. You will be required to get rid of players, sure, but you must be able to identify those that are important and those that are less so. Can't wait to see how much better Dovbyk will be in his second season. And Duncan, I want to add to that, all that skepticism, all that talk, even the rumors now of Girona being interested in Dovbyk returning, bullcrap. Bullcrap in the sense that don't let it fool you. This is a guy who's also come through in the clutch for Roma so many times. If you count the points that he's given you, there's probably been like 16 points in the league alone. Okay, he's on 17 goals this season, but if you count them, if you look at the goals in the games that he's equalized or gave Roma the winning lead, there's a lot of points between him and his VR. So Dovbyk hate not accepted right now. Okay, maybe some other time, some other day, some other in the distant future, hopefully, but not right now because this guy is also coming huge for Roma. Jeroen, looking at the younger teams gives hope for the future. Seeing how they play so good, it's so hopeful. If we've learned something with Ranieri at the helm, is that you cannot give up on the team. You cannot give up on players that have just come in. You cannot believe that what you're seeing in September is what you're going to see in April, May. That's not how it works. Someone like Sule right now is a consistent starter, a player that Ranieri counts on to make the difference. If you look at his playing time, October, November, he was nowhere to be found. That's how it works. That's the way it always will be. Football is about belief, not only from us fans, but also from coaches, players, executives, and that's how it works, guys. Just wanted to once again thank you all for coming in, for tuning in for this live stream. I will be ending it here. If you like what we do at Roma Press, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Roma Press. Once again, thank you for your understanding. We hope to be back with the podcast sometime in June. In the meantime, until the end of the season, I will be doing these live streams. So make sure to click the subscribe button and click the little bell so that you get notified whenever I schedule these. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Let's hope that Roma can keep this going as we head into the final 3 games of the season. Next up, Atalanta. But as always, Forza Roma and ciao.